Thanks. Can everyone hear me? Oh, that works great. Okay. I've got some Zoom habits I'm trying to cut by going, can you see my screen yet? Can you hear me? Am I on mute? So first time on stage, very excited to come to you today and talk about from design to digital twin and beyond. From BIM to digital twin was taken, so this is kind of my other title, which doesn't infringe on any copyright. But the purpose of today is really to talk about a little bit about what we are doing at Epic Games to support the AEC. The other thing is to show you some of the use cases of how people are using these real-time technologies and game engines in the design process from the very beginning of the design all the way through to digital twins and the amazing things that customers are doing to go beyond that and things that we never thought possible before. So that's just a quick brief overview. For those of you who are maybe a little bit unfamiliar with who we are Epic Games and we have this amazing tool called the Unreal Engine. Got a laser pointer. And the Unreal Engine is this game development platform. It's like a toolbox. It's open source. It's free. And we use it to develop our games on the right-hand side or left-hand side. Like Fortnite, Gears of War. But we also take that same engine and we license it out to other game developers so that they can build their games. And what's really unique about this is that the same engine that's used to create these things are also being utilized in the non-game space. So in media and entertainment, automotive manufacturing, and more importantly for today, AEC, and that's where I sit in the organization. So we'll dive into a little bit more about that in a second. We also have been building up this amazing creator ecosystem of organizations and companies to help streamline certain sort of activities. Some of them are more focused with AEC than others. But really the reason that we've been collecting all of this and the reason that we're in all these different areas is to enable content creation for creators, which I think covers everyone in the AEC. We are all creating digital and physical assets. So therefore, enabling that goal of you to be able to create something and deploy it and distribute it is really our primary function. So that's really our raison d'etre, and a lot of our tools are there to support that, which we'll talk about a little bit more today. So what does it mean for AEC? Well, the engine and the game engine itself, it's a real-time rendering platform for visualization, immersion, and interaction. And for us, that means buildings, that means interiors, that means helping enable storytelling for the industry, helping bridge that gap between clients, customers, stakeholders, and the data and information, so you can more interactively and intuitively tell a story to get buy-in or even just to allow them to understand their designs a lot better. So this is why gaming engines have sort of seen this new immersion into the space of AEC, because it's such an important part of the design process. It's such an important part of the building process, of how we talk about things and how we communicate things. So we'll be seeing a little bit more of that today. So from design to digital twins and beyond is the topic today. And I think first of all, we will all recognize this. This is our lovely BIM workflow. I think there's many different variations of it. And it's basically this idea that we start in concept design and we go all the way around, and at the very end of the process, there's operations, renovations, and handover with the owner operators and developers. And really, we exist to complement the BIM workflow. We are here to complement your workflows. You know, we're not seeing ourselves as a replacement tool to anything that's currently on the market. The idea is that we are here to be a complementary factor to the way that you guys work, to the tools that you use, like your Revits and your Rhinos and your ArchiCADs. So it's an extension to the kind of digital mind. Oh, there's a little bit of a rogue text there. I didn't remove him. And so yeah, we're here to kind of enable a number of different things to work alongside your tool. It's this ultimate design companion. And it covers a number of different things, from even the one that's hiding in there in construction phasing and BIM coordination. Everything from design and project reviews to pedestrian simulation, coordination, public hearings, and a whole different factors. So I just want to preface that off the bat. You know, we are here to work with the AEC. We're not here to try and sort of replace or change anything sort of too dramatic. Oh, and sorry, the ecosystem of tools, you know, these are phenomenal. And we do everything from Twinmotion, which we're going to talk about today. We have Capturing Reality, which is built around capturing LiDAR and photogrammetry scans of the real world. Quixel, which is a 3D asset distribution. MetaHumans for creating 3D people. All the way through to the distribution and social side of how we can actually share and create 3D content through things like Sketchfab and ArtStation. So our ecosystem drives the things that we need in the AEC, which is a platform for creation and a platform for distribution. So today, we're going to focus primarily on Twinmotion and Unreal Engine. These are kind of our two hero products. If you haven't heard of Twinmotion before, Twinmotion is essentially the Unreal Engine, but with this UI wrapper wrapped around it, which has been designed specifically for the AEC, for you guys. And the idea behind it was Unreal Engine is this great toolbox that can be used to create anything that your heart can desire. But as AEC workers, we all have tough deadlines, and we all have don't have the time to learn these complex tools. So Twinmotion really comes along to give you a very quick, easy step into the real-time rendering world so that you can start to utilize game engine technologies, but just in the first step of that. And that's really important for what we're going to talk about today. So we come to talk about Twinmotion as being an architectural visualization design companion. And it's host of things from easy UIs to integration with all your architectural tools. We have smart assets that grow and change, and people that can walk around and really look at enabling a quick pipeline for you to take your model and to throw it in an immersive world for you to communicate with the client or with end users or even in design reviews. So Twinmotion is there as that first step, and it's built customly for you guys. Planes, in case you ever need to do planes. Whereas the Unreal Engine we describe as being this immersive 3D content creation tool. And this is for taking your designs to the next level. This is for taking your assets and adding custom functionality from everything from unique sort of branded experiences to digital twins to data visualization, a whole host of things which we're going to cover today. So this is the next step in the evolution. So Twinmotion, primarily used for quick visualizations, but this you can see some great examples of how we can go just that one step further. And really, the aim of them both is to allow you to innovate and create like you've never been able to before. I think there's certain frustrations with certain design tools that they don't quite give you that kind of visibility or interaction which maybe you or your design team or your client team really need. This is what we're here to do. And so there's kind of 4 key areas which we're going to touch on today. We're going to touch around collaboration, an open ecosystem, federation of data, and limitless output. And we'll go into each one of them sort of maybe a little bit more detail, starting with the most important one to us all, data aggregation. Man, I bet we're all sick of interoperability issues in the AEC. I mean, this is just the biggest problem, is tools that work in one place that don't work in the other. We try and enter the industries very agnostically. We want to make sure that no matter what tools you use, is that there's an easy, non-destructive process into the engine. So you're not spending time rebuilding or you're not spending time polishing, is that these pipelines stream directly into both Unreal and Twinmotion. And we do that through Datasmith. We have this great SDK that we work very closely with people like Bentley and Esri in making sure that their solutions also have a channel in to use the Unreal Engine as well. So aggregation is really important to us. And it's not just 3D design data. It's not just BIM data. It's a whole host of different things from a whole variety of different locations. So this is this idea that you could have a landscape elements in Rhino, you could have your building in Revit, you can have 4D construction data in Synchro software, and you can even have live IoT data coming from Microsoft Azure. And there's a home for all of this in the same place. And that's really why we kind of position ourselves as being the great aggregator of data. We'll see some great examples of that in a second. In terms of collaboration, we want to make sure that it's not just a single user experience. I'm sure we're all tired of this as well, is that it's hard to share your assets, it's hard to sort of do these things, especially when COVID hit and we had people all the way around the world and had to do these virtual meetings. Built out of the box, we put collaboration right at the forefront with multi-user collaborations that you can use. There's a whole host of tools in there to aid communication and design work. So again, really important to us. And then pixel streaming, the ability to take these high fidelity models and share them on the web so that it doesn't matter what computer you have, what device you have, that anyone will be able to access the scale, the fidelity, and functionality of Unreal on a web browser. So these technologies are really helping bridge that gap. So you don't expect clients or end users to have gaming PCs. You can literally just send it on the fly using one of these techniques. Pixel streaming utilizes GPU servers based on the cloud and can distribute it out to a number of different people. So really fascinating technology and ever changing as well. Limitless outputs. This is always a really interesting one because, again, I think what we're finding is that certain tools, they're great for one thing, but they don't do the other thing. What I love about real-time technologies and Unreal and Twinmotion is that it's flexible. So if today you want an image, tomorrow you may want an animation, the day after that you may want VR or a web platform. Once your assets are all aggregated in one place, the end product is open and available to be one of many different things. So this one asset or one platform, many experiences, is really to enable you that no matter what hardware you have, no matter what tools you're looking at or how you want to distribute it, those tools are available for you to use, even if you want to make a PS4 game, which I'm still trying to get an architecture firm to do. I think it'd be very badass. But the big one which I want to talk about today is around this connected ecosystem. And this is probably the most important one for us, because I think that let's just have a quick look at the kind of process. This is super simplistic, so I apologize. But we have our BIM applications on one side, and we want to do visualizations of some kind. And there's a disconnect between that, first of all, from BIM to real-time rendering. And then, if you want to take that great visualization tool, or visualization of a building or an experience that you've created, and make a digital twin of it, you have to start again. You have to start from scratch and rebuild it again. And this pipeline is broken in the sense that the assets that you're using in your BIM programs may not be the same thing that you kind of push through to the end result, that there's a lot of rebuilding. And then there's an added complication of having different roles. You know, we don't expect architects and engineers, you know, in their day-to-day of trying to put together all these events to build digital twins. You know, we rely on digital technology specialists or visualization or enthusiastic sort of champions within firms. So even then we have this gap where we can kind of get architects and engineers are starting to use real-time tools to create real-time visualizations, but in handing over that to the other roles is also a big problem. So we are looking to address this really with Twinmotion. So Twinmotion is this tool that is open and accessible for anyone. Architects, my grandmother could use it to create these quick visualizations. My granny's actually really good at like VR and stuff, so that's not really a diss on her. But anyway, the idea is that it's very accessible, and then you can take that Twinmotion asset, that quick visualization you've created, and import it into Unreal exactly as you left off. So it's bridging the gap between the architects and engineers who are working in the BIM models with the people who may then build a digital twin. It's bridging the idea so you're not pushing your models into an application that's a dead end, where you make a visualization and it can't go any further. No, that Twinmotion model can live on in the model afterlife as a training simulation, as a digital twin, as one of these other many different use cases. So this ecosystem, we believe, is really strong in enabling both the sort of bridge between roles, but also the bridge between softwares themselves. So with the remaining time, I want to talk a little bit about that kind of journey and talk about how some people are actually utilizing these tools in the industry. You know, first of all the way back to the kind of BIM to Twinmotion, so the real-time visualization side, and we'll kind of bridge on from there. So Twinmotion is this great tool, and you know, there's a host of different things in there for creating very quick, very animated end products. And this can be everything from setting up animation videos to actually kitting out a series. This could be used for construction events, but I found this one very cool because he had to individually animate all the books, which I thought was hilariously dedicated of him. But either way, it's this visualization real-time window into the model itself, and allows you to capture quick videos, add interesting stylized effects, just to then tell a story. So it's a storytelling tool for architects and designers. And this is what Big uses it for, or BIG. I'm not quite sure how they talk about themselves. But it's how Big use it in the Terminus Group project, which they presented at our Build event last week. It's a storytelling tool that allows them a real-time design to take their architectural models and throw in entourage, throw in scenes to help sell what spaces will be used for. And they can do this very easily on the fly using the interface to drag and drop, even on call, so they can interact with the client and end users. So it's a way of quickly interacting and creating these immersive experiences on the fly. And this real-time design process is great. And again, we spoke earlier, the big thing about this is it's in Twinmotion. Guess what? That can move over into Unreal in its visual fidelity and become something else. Oh. In design, we see this kind of bridge where people are using Twinmotion but moving over into Unreal and starting to utilize all the great things which Unreal has at its disposal, like the VR and AR capabilities. But one example I want to draw to attention is the work that HOK did on their Center Block project. This is a colossal scale project, really important in Canada. There would be standing ovations for this at the moment because it's their Parliament building. But they didn't just utilize our ecosystem, they utilized the extended ecosystem, from Cesium for open geospatial data, Cintu for their LiDAR scanning, and all the way through to 3D Repo for their Revit revision management process. And at each process, both Twinmotion and Unreal offered a bridge into the visualization between them and their end users. So Twinmotion for quick visualizations and Unreal for creating these customized UI viewports so they can extract and interpret that data in the way that the end user needs to do. So it's not one tool, it's many tools. And this is why one of our primary focuses is to work with as many of the tools which you guys need as possible, because it makes things like this possible. It makes the ability that no matter where you are, it can integrate into a real-time pipeline. And so the other example is, let's push the boundaries on XR because it needs a little spot in the sun. Fosters and partners are doing some fantastic things with XR and really looking at taking real-time rendering off of a computer screen and actually onto site, where they have equipped these amazing hardware backpacks and VR, mixed reality, so you can actually be on site and take those Unreal and Twinmotion models and view them in context with their surrounding environment. So you can actually meet at sites or meet at construction yards and actually visualize these 3D components using a number of the different hardware developments that are currently available. Bad thing at the moment is the hardware available does make you look a little bit like a spaceman in London, but as hardware develops and gets more refined, you'll just see these processes becoming more common to allow expansion beyond just iPads and these sort of backpacks, but more into sort of AR glasses, which are a little bit less sort of showy. But either way, it's a really interesting project and sort of seeing how XR is being pushed in the AEC space. So thank you to Foster and Partners for that. So the next one, I think I've got a little bit of time, so I'm actually going to go back one slide and talk about the fun of digital twins. This is a fun sort of trending word we see developing quite a lot. So digital twins means lots of different things for lots of different people. We are definitely not here to kind of define it for anyone. We're here to make sure, again, very agnostically, that we work with as many different providers and tools as possible towards this end goal, which is, let's take our 3D models, let's take our data sets, wherever they may be IoT based, they may be on your own personal data servers, and let's merge the two. Let's contextualize data in its natural environment. Let's go away from displaying information in digital twins in Excel and what was once described as a glorified Excel spreadsheet and into a more immersive front user space. And this is what Unreal is built for. It's built for aggregating 3D data. It's built for aggregating external data sources from Azure, AWS, or wherever they may be, and creating that unique customized UI front view for that application. So with these 3 core elements in mind, let's see some examples of some customers who took that and have developed on. Starting with 51 World. 51 World are the Cadillac of digital twins on the other side of the world. They have basically taken that exact same equation. They had the 3D assets, they had GIS data, they had BIM, they had photogrammetry. They merged that with their data sets and their data stores from site. And they amalgamated the two to really showcase digital data visualization in context of the model to see how their assets are performing in real time, and allowing the user to freely explore those models in full 120, 60 frames per second and actually understand that data, to lower the cognitive load on understanding how things work. So you're not having to kind of misinterpret information. You can clearly visualize in different ways, in different formats, how your sites are operating. And this is what Unreal offers, is the visualization front end, that layer between that complex, structured IoT backend and the consumer, the occupants, the end users. So our role is about creating that communication layer. We're definitely not going to be a cloud provider. We don't want your data. We don't want anything to do with it. We want to connect to where your data is and just import that to visualize it. And that's really it. And great example. If you haven't seen it, I can basically just talk a little bit about it. This is the kind of best example of digital twins that we've seen so far, and the usefulness of visualization, where Build Media did a digital twin of Wellington, all of Wellington, New Zealand. In fact, all of New Zealand in Unreal. And they paired together with Wellington City Council to create a platform for their citizens to better engage with their city data. I don't know if anyone's had the joy of going to the London Data Store recently, but it is a very not fun place to go and understand how the city's operating, unless you can read JSON or XML or one of the many formats they offer. But what they've done here is that they've translated that data into a way that the occupants can understand. This is all open source data. The public have had access to it for years, and it's really about complementing that process. I think it was Robert Jenkins in a sort of publication last year in the Future of Planning who stated that only 1% of citizens engage in their local city planning projects. I don't believe it. Who could have thought? Whenever you force people down this government portal to view 2D documents, that people don't engage. Whereas if there was a platform where you could actually stand outside your house and see the impact of how these models or how these future developments would impact you, it opens up a whole realm of conversations. So digital twins are really bridging that gap between complex IoT data and the users itself. And again, we want to work with as many different providers as possible, everyone from Microsoft to AWS to Bentley and Autodesk, the whole works. And so lastly, just because we're coming up on time, I want to talk about beyond and into the future. And this is really, these are areas that we never really saw people sort of utilizing Unreal for, and we're really sort of starting to push the boundaries on where game engines can sort of interject into the AEC. Everything from how Zaha Hadid are integrating their visualization pipeline in with prefabrication and manufacturing detail to allow end users custom configurators to build their homes or units. That is mixing technology from computational parameters so that they make sure that units work in a particular way, but creating that interface that links with the manufacturing detail so at the end of this, you understand cost. You understand time frame, you understand that there's an order to this that you can get it then shipped to site. So it's an interactive way of sort of speaking between not just the sort of architecture side, but all the way through to the manufacturer side. And we're seeing more and more emergences of these technologies that are linking all the way to the end process and into the construction and manufacturing and beyond. So really, really exciting use case there. The next one, super interesting, Modumate. Modumate decided, you know what, we don't like all the BIM softwares. We're going to utilize gaming engine technologies to actually recreate a BIM application software within Unreal Engine, to mix modeling and pre-visualization, to give you guys the flexibility of an open source platform to design and create in a more immersive setting. And it utilizes all the core components that we saw earlier on today. It's an open ecosystem. You have collaboration. I can literally see another user in there modeling in real time. No syncing, no linking up to a cloud. It's utilizing all the core functionalities of what game engines do. And it allows you to build up your own BIM library. It allows you to link to a lot of manufacturing data, all in creating these very quick, dynamic BIM models. So we're seeing this emergence of people actually developing their own software tools exclusively for the AEC. And we have a whole host more coming later on in the year, which I can't share with you today, but there are some very exciting developments happening. But this is what I love about the game engine technology is we've strayed away from just purely visualization, more into the design, the operation, and all the way through to things that we couldn't possibly have thought of 5 years ago. And it wouldn't be a presentation this year without talking about Unreal Engine 5 when we talk about going beyond and into the future. This is our next iteration. This is the next thing with real-time technology. Later this year, we'll be announcing or releasing Unreal Engine 5 into the marketplace, which has a whole host of tools that are perfect for the AEC to utilize. Things like Lumen, which allows you real-time light illumination into your scene, so you can experiment with light and models live and interactively, so you don't have to rebake scenes or re-render scenes to get that photo quality assets. Nanite, so you can have huge global scale projects. Double precision, so you can take your geospatial data from here to the moon and put a pin and it will be in its exact coordinate, which no other software platform currently does, or no other game engine platform does. So what Unreal Engine 5 is going to bring to the AEC space is going to be phenomenal. And we're already seeing some great companies going out there and testing the boundaries on what that looks like, both from visualization and even into the digital twin space. And so to sum up, this sentence, it's in our sort of deck usually. Game engines are changing the world. I disagree. You guys are changing the world. We're here to be on that journey with you. We're here to utilize and solve the problems you're facing and to give you an easy pipeline to utilize this so that you, your architect friends, anyone from the kind of sort of less digitally inclined to all the way through to the digital technologists can utilize these tools to build your solutions that will help you along the process. And there's a whole host of things that we offer, both with Twinmotion Unreal, from Datasmith to the collaboration template to pixel streaming, whole host of things which are built into that ecosystem. And best of all is that these tools are very free and available for you guys to utilize. There's a creator license for Unreal Engine that allows you to create these models. There's no licensing costs unless you build an off-the-shelf product. Twinmotion, small cost, but it's perpetual, so you own the software forever. I know we're all down this kind of subscription route that I don't see why is a good thing, but if you buy it once, you have it forever for the rest of your life. And that's me. If you want to learn more, we have this lovely website which has all the videos that you can find on our Build Architecture page, or visit unrealengine.com. But thank you for having me.
Thanks, David. Cool.